the Shavuos season, but I heard an incredible shir from Rabbi from Mishmar Chabura, literally a game changer in how we understand Torah, learning Torah. So basically, we have an interesting question, famous question, Magen Avram's question. It's okay. Famous Magen Avram's question. We think that we count Sphira for 50 days, and for 49 days after Sphira, the 50th day is Shavuos, right? So really, it's not true. It's a scam. It's not the 50th day at all. Shavuos is not the 50th day. Don't tell your kids this. They're gonna be angry at you. Your school. It's not the 50th day. It's really the 51st day, right? So there's an interesting reason why. Is because what day was Yetzias Mitzrayim of the week? Thursday, correct. It's Thursday. Okay, so if Thursday was Yetzias Mitzrayim, when was the second day? Count the Omer. Friday. Count 49 days from Friday. 49 days. 7 times 7 is Thursday, the 49th day. When's the 50th day? Friday. Gemara 2 says when was Kriyas Torah? On Shabbos.
He says Friday.
As I'm saying, it should have been. Hashem said it should be on Friday, and it really was. The Gemara says so. It's two conflicting Gemaras. One says Pesach, the actual Pesach, happened on Thursday, and one Yetzias Mitzrayim was on Shabbos. Problem. So that's the famous Magen Avram's question. That how could we say in davening Zman Matan Torasenu? Now at least here in Chutz La'aretz in America we have 2 days, so it works out well. At least the second day we get it right. But in Israel, it's really the wrong day. So it's like okay. Because
they end a day early.
Yeah, they have 1 day. So they're nothing. What happened on the 50th day? Nothing. That's the question. So the Gemara really.
Yeah, but they start counting on
same day.
Second day.
Same day. Yeah. For us, it's
for them it's Chama.
Right. It's a Seder night, and for them, it's the second. Yeah, it makes sense. It's the same day. So Shavuos is the same day, and that's the question. The question is what's the deal? Like, why is this? So.
Shavuos is not the 50th day. It's 50 days from the day.
It's 49 days of counting from the second day of Pesach, which is the 50th day is Pesach.
It's Shavuos. Have to wait that night because it's the 50th day.
Yeah, it makes no difference. It's the 50th day. But we clearly, the way we do it today, it's the 51st. The way it was done then, the Shavuos was on the 51st day.
From the coming.
Of course, Israel, America, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, it's the same. So that's an interesting question. I see you're a mathematical mind, so you chop right away. Okay. But that's it. That part's over. So the question really is like, what's the deal? So the interesting is how many times did Moshe say something that Hashem didn't agree with, and said, you know what, I agree. How many fights did Moshe and Hashem have? 3 fights.
At the beginning of the world with the creating the people.
No, that's Malachim.
Being a leader.
Moshe Rabbeinu said, Hashem said one. Okay, well, so the Gemara says 3 things. The first one was actually Hashem says, what I want Klal Yisrael to do is, he told Moshe, tell the Jews, Wednesday and Thursday they should prepare for Shavuos, and the Torah will be given on Friday. And Moshe says, you know what, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday prepare, and give it on Shabbos. So Moshe decided to give it 1 day extra preparation day, the 3 days. We're going to see why. That's a good question. Why? But Moshe said, I'm going to add an extra day. And Hashem said, you know what, you're right. Okay? That was the first time. The second time we know is that Moshe Rabbeinu separated from his wife Tzipporah, which all the other Nevi'im didn't have to do. And Hashem said, you know, you're right. And the third time, Moshe smashed the luchas from Har Sinai, and Hashem says, right, good job. So it's 3 times that Hashem didn't necessarily say it. But where was the first time that happened? The first time that happened was actually the Shavuos thing, that Hashem says, Wednesday, Thursday, prepare, Friday's Torah day, and Moshe says, no, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and give it. So Moshe's the one who really pushed it off. Okay, so then it comes out. Now we answer the question. Wait a second. So it comes out we're not listening to Hashem's day, we're listening to Moshe's day. Whose Shavuos should actually work out? We should be listening to Hashem, what Hashem wanted? Well, the answer comes out, it's not Moshe, right? So the 50th day is when Hashem wanted it to happen. The The Magen Avraham says a very interesting answer. He says the answer is, you know why we celebrate Shavuos? Because Hashem did not give us the Torah on Shavuos. That's why we celebrate on the 50th day. Because on the 50th, what happened? Nothing happened. That's why we celebrate. Now, that's what we're going to talk about. What? Okay, here we go. There's a famous Gemara about the story of Rabbi Elazar and the Chachamim about that famous Tanur Shelach, that barrel oven made out of metal. And Rabbi Elazar says, Tahar. And all the Chachamim said, Tameh.
What's the Gemara?
It's a Gemara talks, famous Gemara, and they sold a Tanur Shelach, a snake oven, because in those days there was like, imagine a snake coiled up.
Oh, okay.
So they had barrel hoops made out of metal, barrel hoops. And
How was the oven?
when I would travel, I would break off the clay, take the hoops, my 10 hoops, and just carry it. Much easier to carry hoops. Then when I would come back and I take mud, pack it up, and I make a new barrel, make an oven, right? New oven. So when that is taken apart, is that considered a keli or not? If it is a keli, then everything inside can become tameh. If it's not a keli, so Rabbi Elazar said tahar, and Ocham said no, it's tameh. So it says you.
It's multiple kelis.
Well, whatever. It's a good question. It's an argument, but that was it. So they said. So he says, "What do you mean? If I'm right, what should happen? You see that carob tree over there, the charum tree? Let it uproot itself and run." And guess what happened? The carob tree uproots itself and it runs. We don't bring rayas from carob trees. Some said. Second thing. Okay. You don't believe that? Watch this. If I'm right, this river flowing this way should flow back the other way. And guess what happened? It flows backwards. We don't bring proofs from rivers. And guess what happens? If I'm right, third try. If I'm right, let the walls of the Bais Medrash cave in, and the walls started coming in, craving in. Rabbi Shua says, stop. And in deference to Rabbi Shua and Rabbi Elazar, the walls were like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, stood like this, not to make anyone feel like, you're not chashiv. And it's like this. And the Rabbanan says, we don't bring proofs from falling walls. So then Rabbi Elazar pulls out his final punch, and he says, if I'm right, let a Baskol come from Shemayim and say that I'm right. And a Baskol came and says, Rabbi Elazar is right. And all of them say, Hashem, stick your nose out. Lo min hashamayim hi. Torah's over here. The famous Gemara. It's none of your business. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's stop for a second. Imagine my 50th birthday is coming up, and my kids are next week. It's not 50th, it's not 55th or 56th. And it's coming up, and all my kids are sitting around the table deciding, hey, wait a second, what should we get Tati for his birthday? Because let's get him a new iPhone, let's get him a new car, and they're fighting over rayas, what I would probably want. And then I walk by and say, hey kids, I really want the new iPhone. Tati, stick your nose out of it, it's none of your business, we'll decide. What? So that's that should be like, we look at this, so isn't the point of the Chachamim understanding Torah to understand what Hashem's inner Ratzon is?
Why? There's a reason why we got the Torah.
No, because we didn't. But you hear the question. It's a good question. You may have the answer. You may have an answer, but the question is, which means, why is the example of me telling you what I want, telling you what I want, any worse than you trying to figure out what I want? You're saying that the process of the Torah is to figure out ultimately what Hashem wants. And therefore, if I tell you you have crystal ball, then Baskol said what I want. Isn't it a done deal?
We have to work.
No, because
Okay.
like he said, you have to work hard for it.
Okay, good. But even with the process of the Chacham fighting to the death, the Beis Shammai Beis Hillel fighting to the death, till literally, don't you want to understand what Hashem's real Ratzon is? Isn't that what? Listen, if you ask every Kabbalah guy, what do they say? Kabbalah is Hashem's real Ratzon, not regular Gemara. Kabbalah is the real deep Ratzon of Hashem.
Go back to that cave, right? Hashem tells Abraham, Yitzchak, and the Malach says stop. You can listen to the Malach, right?
Okay.
You can open the door.
Yeah. So we got to talk about it. So how does that work? So now, we want to just talk a little bit about that story, and we really want to bring down like a thought. like first of all, what happened to end of that story? So what happened is Rabbi Lazar, they put him in Chayrim. They put Rabbi Lazar in Chayrim, and Rabbi Kiva.
Why? Because he did 4 miracles.
No, because he says it's still halachas like me, and because he was going to go around saying the halachas like me, Klal Yisrael has to have one official ruling. The halachas be like so, and you can't just decide what you want. And they put him in Chayrim, and Rabbi Kiva came to him, and he stood backward, the Daled Amos, and he said, "My son, why are you so far from me?" So he says, Your chaverim have moved apart from you. Meaning, he put him in Chayrim, he cried, because that was the end of that story, and basically he was put in Chayrim the rest of his life. Rabbi Lazar.
Wow.
Because you can't have, you have to have one central authority. You can't have. But in truth, the story really makes us think for a second, like what really happened there. Now, it says the Vilna Gaon says a very interesting point. He says, why did he pick a carob tree? Why didn't he pick an olive tree? Why did he pick a river? Like he could have figured 3 better miracles. Watch the clock. It's going to fly around the room. Okay. Like why? Like he has to do these miracles. Well, why are those so special? So Vilna Gaon says very interesting. He says, what was Rabbi Lazar trying to say? Look, guys. I'm it. I'm the biggest Anav in town. I'm the Galadar. You guys are wrong, and I'm right. Well, I said, look at what he was saying. Who determines who is a Talmud Chacham or not? Because once you start saying you're a Talmud Chacham, I'm a Talmud Chacham. So the answer is, what does a carob tree represent in our world, our mystical world of Kabbalah? Carob Buxer.
Yes. Shabbat
Mishmar Chabura means mistapik mu'at. I can live with nothing. That's the symbolism of the. There's no juice. An orange full of juice. Buxer is dry. You're living. There's no frills. It's bare minimum. So the Buxer tree represents. Rabbi Lazar was saying, my whole life is only for the truth of Torah. I get no benefit out of this. No physical benefit. The water represents humble, right? We know the lowest point is where the water goes to.
Right.
Water. I'm the most humble. But it's not because I'm showing off, because I really am. I have the character traits to decide what the halach is. And the Torah, the walls caving in the Bais Medrash, that's because I'm the man who's living in the Bais Medrash. I have the hours. I put my whole life. Like the Vilna Gaon slept was awake 22 hours, he slept 2 hours at 4 30-minute increments. He learned for 22 hours. So Rabbi Lazar, you can imagine, was, at least that, if not more. So Rabbi Lazar had all the characteristics of being the one who decides halacha. He was completely humble. He was the Mishmar Chabura, and he had no benefit, no personal benefit whatsoever. So Regla said, listen to me, I am the one who should decide the halacha. Afal Piki, even so, they said, no, lo min shamayim, you have no right to do it. And that was the end of that story. Okay. Now we have to ask the question. Let's think for a second. How do we understand altogether the concept of Hashem's involvement in Torah, and what is our desire to find the truth through our learning? So the Ran says a very, very powerful, Drashas Haran says a very powerful, it's a life change if you think about it. What is the concept of Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim? Bais Shammai and Bais Hillel argue, we know they're both right. How can they both be right? So we have a lot of different answers, different Rishonim give answers. The Ran says something incredible. He says there are 2 types of truth in this world. There's mathematical truth, 2 plus 2 is 4. That's it. There's no other way you can, that's the truth. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's it. That's the truth. That's called imperial truth. Then there's halachic truth, which means the Ran says Hashem put into the world my desire for Torah knowledge to be given, like you were saying, given to Klal Yisrael through these methodologies and processes. So, therefore, when I gave the word, Moshe Rabbeinu, we got the Torah, he gave the Klolim, the 13 principles of learning out the Torah, and he was given the Klolim. What happens at the end of the Klolim? If you follow my process, you're both right. Bais Shammai and Bais Hillel fought to the death. As long as you have the characteristics of Rabbi Lazar, completely humble, no personal benefit, and you put in all your life into this thing, you're fighting to the death, following my Klolim, you're right, and you're right.
Yeah, he ended up in Scheiner.
Right, that's because he wasn't willing to say there has to be one central authority. Bais Shammai wasn't, he was right in his world, but halacha follows Bais Hillel. But Hashem. Yeah, right. Yeah. But the content, he's Mecheb only because he says, no, it has to be like me. No, the process is you follow majority. Right. That's the process. But the actual, what is Hashem? So the Gemara says that there was an Amora who met Eliyahu Navi, and he said, can I ask you a question? What was Hashem doing at the moment when that story happened with Rebbe Lazar and the Basel came out? So the Gemara says, Eliyahu says, Hashem said, Nitzchuni bonai nitzchuni. My children have been triumphant over me. Hashem says, I gave my Torah to Klal Yisrael. They have fought to the death to get the truth. They're both right. And the Ran says that when it comes to halachic truth, as long as you follow the process, you are right. And I want to tell you such a beautiful mashal. Like, for instance, when Hashem gave told Moshe Rabbeinu, there's going to be electricity in 3,000 years from now. What is halach electricity on Shabbos? What Hashem told Moshe according to the Ran? Nothing. Here the klalim, your children will work it out. And the Drush Ran says, they will work it out. What happens if the stipler fights to the death? In electricity? They're both right. Is right. Who we follow? We follow the majority, because that's part of the process. But the beauty of the Ran is saying that, I'll give you a great mashal. Imagine you have a 4-year-old child and their birthday's coming up. You have 3 options for a birthday cake. You can go right now to the store and buy a beautiful Elmo birthday cake. Beautiful, it'd be perfect. No mess, most beautiful cake. Option 1. Option 2, you can make a birthday cake when your child is in school.
So it won't be an Elmo one.
It won't be Elmo one. It won't be as nice. A little messy, right? But what is the point of you making a birthday cake? You love your child. So the third option is, why don't you make the cake with your child? Very messy. But the point is how much I love you and I want to spend time with you. Making the cake is the most meaningful thing you could do for your child. Because I love you and I want to spend the time with you creating something that we both can create together. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the Quran, Hashem says, my giving Torah is not because I want to dictate to you, do my will. I want to make the cake with you. Is it messy? Talmud Bavli is very messy. In fact, Talmud Bavli, that's how the Rambam made the Rambam. There's no end result. It's a wreck. Talmud Bavli, zu choshech zu Talmud Bavli. It is a wreck. It's a mess. But that's the mess that Hashem wants Klal Yisrael to be involved in, and that's the birthday cake. Because when we create the Torah through Hashem's klalim, we're working with Hashem.
Hashem wants to be a part of your life.
Hashem becomes, quote unquote, vulnerable. I don't want to use a Manas Friedman line. The whole process of learning is look at Talmud Bavli. A kasha and a teretz, a teretz and a teretz, a kasha and a teretz, a teretz, a kasha. There's no end to it.
So that's the purpose of why the Rambam make his mission.
No, because we have to have a halakhic authority, like the Beis Shammai Hill. We pass it Beis Hill. Beis Shammai and Beis Hill are right, but we pass it Beis Hill. That's what Rabbi Loza put in Cherem.
The whole process is B'shakl v'tareh.
Is make the cake HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yeah, no. That was just saying. But by the way, we don't pass on the Rambam. The Rambam lost. He became the greatest in lumdus and learning, and he brought more learning to the world probably than any other gadol in Klal Yisrael. He brought more learning to the world. But Rambam is not. We don't pass on the Rambam. I mean, there are Sephardi, whatever. But that's not it. He actually, what he wanted to do, it actually didn't happen. We don't follow his book, basically. So the concept that Ran is saying is so beautiful that the world of Torah learning. So which means it comes out that when you're sitting and you have a ha'ara and you're learning a sugya, you're learning Chumash, Rashi, and you have something that makes sense, and you fight it out, and no one proves you wrong. Guess what? You have been mechadish Hashem's. That's Hashem's Torah. When you work through the klalim that Klal Yisrael was given to Moshe Rabbeinu, and those klalim, and you work it out, and you're fighting to the death, and you're the same as Rashi and Taisus. Not the same level, But if you're fighting to the death, you use the klam, you're using the 3 principles of Rabbi Elazar. Completely humble, no personal benefit, and you give all your life to Torah, and you're doing it all l'shem shemayim, then your ha'ara and your thought and your chiddush is Torah's Hashem, period. It's not like, oh, that's a nice vart. No. Yeah. Now you go back and you fight. Is it true? And you speak to a Rosh Hashiva, help me out. Is it wrong or right? Fight about it. Show me I'm wrong. If they can't show you wrong, then you just from Chadish Torah's Moshe. That's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is like a concept. We say something. Ki lekach tov nosat lachem. The Gemara says the lekach is the Torah, and the Gemara says a regular. I sell you my car. I'm sad, and the buyer's happy. Right? The Torah is different. Hashem is happy, and the buyer is happy. Kaisel is happy. Wait a second. That's not a good analogy because Hashem really is he giving it away?
No, it's just like you said. It's the father with the son.
Right.
He's giving him the cake now.
Exactly. That's exactly what it means. Is that Hashem? So what Hashem really did on Shul. So what did Hashem do on the 50th day? It was the first time that Moshe Rabbeinu said, No, Hashem, I'm going to make it on the 51st day. So what did Hashem do on the 50th day? He didn't give us the Torah. He gave us the ability to have His Torah as part of our life, and we make the Torah with Him. So the Magen Avraham said, what do we celebrate on Shavuos on the 50th day? Hashem's given us the ability to make the cake with Him. The 51st day is that we actually got the Torah. But what's more important? Not getting the Torah, that Hashem is vulnerable.
The 2 days was preparing for the Torah, and the 3rd day was preparing what the Torah was all about.
Well, so Moshe Rabbeinu said we prepare for 3 days and actually get it on the 51st day.
On the 4th.
On 50th, which is the 4th day. Right. But so why do we celebrate the 50th day? What happened is the Magen Avraham says
that's the whole reason what the Torah was all about.
Not. Hashem didn't give us the Torah the 50th day. Hashem gave us the ability to do it with Him. Exactly. So it's like
learn Torah with Hashem.
Right. To Hashem. So to speak, Hashem gave.
Wait, so why do I have a chavrusa?
What?
Well, why do I have a chavrusa? I already have one.
Why do you have a chavrusa?
That's why you're not allowed to leave. The Gemara and Hashem, you're not allowed to do it.
So on the 50th day, we're basically celebrating, the Zman Torah Seder is that Hashem gave Moshe, which was the first human being in history to disagree with Hashem. Hashem says, it's yours, and we're going to build this together. We're going to create the Torah together. And that's what we have today. So that is like, it's mind-boggling. That means the whole concept of when we learn Torah today, it's Hashem creating the Torah with us. And as the world develops and all the new technology comes through, it's us creating the Torah with Hashem. Well, Hashem didn't tell Moshe what's going to be electricity, what's going to be nuclear, medicine, all these things. Hashem didn't tell Moshe. He gave him the clothing. We're working it out. We become the builders of Torah today. Every one of us. Yeah.
So they say that's why you live just like the young today. That's child. Why you like the
Yeah. In fact, there's a famous Chacham Sefer. I heard Rabbi Shelach say it a few times that Mashiach comes. Even Eretz Yisrael is going to keep 2 days. Yeah.
This concept is not just in learning; it's halacha.
It's
Tariya said the Gemara Yuma says that we follow the Sanhedrin. Das Torah. They said, for argument's sake, the food's kosher.
Right.
And we eat it, and it's non-kosher, and everyone has to be kavanah.
Right.
So,
okay. Because then we found out that it was a mistake, which means if there's a psak halacha that a bezdin makes, and there's another bezdin later on comes and slugs it up, the process was perfect until now we found a new. Yeah, it's not a problem until we listen. That's what I said. Right now, if I come with a chiddush and I speak to every time a chacham in town, Rabbi Shabbos, I speak to Rabbi Shalzinger, and they said that's a good chiddush. That's a beautiful and great. That comes Torah. Now, 2 years later, someone comes up with a chap that they showed me I was wrong. No problem. I did good, and now we follow that. That's part of the process. We're not stuck. That's the beauty. We're not stuck in Torah. It has to be. We're working this out. We're baking the cake with Hashem.
I heard it brought down in share before that one of Hashem's ultimate pleasures is He wants us to see Him as a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old sees their mother. That means that when a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old they're playing, every couple of seconds they look up to see, is the mother. Now, they rely on their mother.
Right.
The first thing they come to the world, the first thing they get is milk from them.
Right.
They see them as sustenance, as without them, they're nothing.
Right.
So the mother can go to the most dangerous places, go through Holland, anywhere. But as long as the baby's with the mother, the baby doesn't care where he is.
Nice.
As long as he's with his mother, he knows he's going to be taken care of. So if the Jewish people, in every point in their life, every second, whether it's at work or whatever you're doing, you make Hashem part of your day. That every single day, no, I'm doing this. Hashem, then that's like one of the ultimate pleasures that Hashem gets, because you're making him part of your life.
It
lines up with what
there's so many different ways to this can be, this applies, but all right. Okay.